All right.
Yep.
Good deal. Welcome everybody to the March 10th Committee of the Whole meeting. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
to the republic,
to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting. Roll call.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Bill Carlos, Second Ward.
Michael Safone, Fourth Ward.
Stefan Krakauer, Fifth Ward.
Ann Shershin, Sixth Ward.
Alicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, attorney for the town.
Danielle Straub, Vanwater.
John Basie, Town Supervisor. Welcome, everybody. Tonight we have one presentation. It's a Clean Energy Community presentation by Anila Sharian, if I'm close, if I have that right. Welcome. I see you're out there. It's yours. You want to start? Go right ahead. Welcome.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Anila Charian, and I am very pleased to be with you today. And I hope you can see my screen, which I'm beginning to share with you. Yes? Yay.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a presentation on the way. So, you know, I want to thank everyone here for giving me the time to speak. I am a Clean Energy Communities Coordinator in the Mid-Hudson region. Now, the Mid-Hudson region happens to be a very active region for clean energy communities. The Clean Energy Community is a NYSERDA program, and it is in its second cycle. So there are communities out there in the Mid-Hudson region that as soon as the new grant cycle launched, they have been very quick to embrace a number of high impact action items in order to get grant funding. So this is an exciting time to be a clean energy community because you have the opportunity to get grant funding. So what do I mean by that? I mean that there are three different kinds of grant fundings with the addition of bonus grants. There is the opportunity to get a designation grant. If you are a community that has never engaged with NYSERDA's Clean Energy Program, but you do a series of 4 high impact actions, you have the opportunity of getting a $5,000 grant as soon as you do the 4 high impact action items. And I'll spell what they are. But then you also have this interesting opportunity to layer that grant with point-based grants. And then finally, you have any municipality has the opportunity to get action-based grants, which is by the adoption of New York Stretch and by undertaking community campaigns. And I know the town of Poughkeepsie has undertaken one with Cornell Cooperative Extension. So the designation grant, to be clear, you can complete 4 high impact action items, and you can earn a CEC designation, and you can get, like I said, a one-time $5,000 designation grant. In the previous cycle of the NYSERDA launch, there were a lot of municipalities that leapt to this opportunity and got grant funding. So anyone that hasn't gotten that and is new to the program, you automatically get this $5,000 grant. But here's another opportunity to get more grants through what I was talking about, the point-based grant system. So if you look at this, a small municipality or anything that's under 40,000 population size can get $10,000, layered upon that another $20,000, and then finally $70,000. But for communities that have never engaged with clean energy communities, that is that they have never been before designated, if you adopt the energy code called New York Stretch Code, you get an automatic grant of $5,000. That's in addition to the designation grant. Meanwhile, if you do any community campaign, once you undertake a community campaign, and there are 4 different kinds of campaigns that any municipality can do, and I'll go through all of them. Once you complete them with as little as 10 participants, if you sign up 10 people to engage with, for example, community solar, you can get a $5,000 grant. Now, I want you to pay attention to this piece here. there are 100 of these grants available right now across all of New York State. So it is a first come, first serve basis. And what makes the NYSERDA Clean Energy Community Program unusual is that it doesn't require any cost sharing. It can be used for anything clean energy related. So I am seeing municipalities that are using their $5,000 designation grant to get an EV charger. There's another municipality that's looking to look for a solar panel for their town hall. So there's a lot of creativity that is encouraged by municipalities. But I happen to be the Clean Energy Communities Coordinator that is responsible for 102 municipalities. So I am responsible for the towns and villages in Dutchess, Putnam, Ulster, and Westchester. And I can tell you that there are a lot of municipalities out there that are quite actively engaged with this program because it offers them the opportunity to get different ways to access different kinds of grant money. So here are some of the high impact actions, right? There's an array of 13 of them. Remember how I said in the first round of the Clean Energy Communities portal when it launched, there used to be 10. So in some ways, those communities that were early adopters of the Clean Energy Communities, the grant cycle, they have already completed a number of them. There are others that are beginning, but what is really amazing about this time, this new launch is these two action items. See, this particular one of adopting the New York Stretch Energy Code, as well as community campaigns, these are high point value actions, but each of them, as I emphasized before, carries the opportunity for another $5,000 grant, okay? If you're a small and medium-sized community. If you're bigger, so I have a town that's close to 90,000 people, and they have the potential, if they adopt New York Stretch, to get $50,000. So the larger towns, but there are fewer of those for the larger communities. So I just want to quickly review with you the high impact actions, because I often think it's the best part of the presentation is to hear from you guys, as to any questions that you have. So let me begin with the first one, which is the Unified Solar Permit. And this is any jurisdiction, so any municipality that can enforce the uniform code for private buildings. A number of these high impact actions deal with municipal engagement with your energy code and your buildings department. So the next two you're going to see, the adoption of a unified solar permit, it makes it easy. It's designed to streamline and expedite the approval process for solar usage. And by implementing a standardized permit application, you can cut costs, okay? And many municipalities have adopted it. The interesting thing about this as well is that the toolkit for this high impact action, which is on the NYSERDA website, it actually contains a template. So this is a template-based resolution. Communities that want to adopt it can look at the template, and it's a 2-page template resolution. I'm now going to move to the next high impact action item, which is energy code enforcement training. So most towns, villages, cities, counties, they have code departments and code officials. NYSERDA offers free training to your energy code official, and it's called energy code enforcement training. And unfortunately, the last time it was offered was June 2019, and now with COVID, it requires an in-person training component, so not completely online. So the next time we're going to offer it is going to be as soon as COVID restrictions are clarified and the public health rules are allowed. In the Mid-Hudson region, we're going to have at least 3 workshops, in-person workshops. And you can contact me and your code officials can sign up for this. But this automatically allows for 200 points. But more importantly, it actually allows your code officials to get trained for free. And this is also, I'm going to come to this point as well with New York Stretch when I discuss the New York Stretch high impact action. This is a high impact action called PACE financing. Now, outside of Westchester County, that is in any other county outside of Westchester, this particular program is only adoptable at the city and county level outside of Westchester. So you can't access the points for this, but you can access 300 points if you have a project in your community that uses CPACE finance. And what is CPACE finance? It allows any eligible commercial or nonprofit property, any property owner, to get clean energy financing. And it's implemented by the Energy Improvement Corporation. It's a not-for-profit. So any municipality that engages with this, even though you can't sign it as a town, you can have a project that's in your town that can access CPACE finance. And I'm happy to put you in touch with the organizers of CPACE if you have any commercial or property interest, residential interest in your town. Now, with regards to clean energy upgrades, this is an interesting high impact action. What it requires is, it requires municipalities to do a benchmarking of any building that they have that's over 1,000 square feet. If you benchmark your building, and the reason you're doing this is because this entire exercise of clean energy communities is contextualized in New York State's adoption of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with it, but it is essentially the law of the land, because it was adopted in 2019, and the CLCPA has very ambitious renewable energy and energy efficiency goals that have to be met by 2030, 2040, 2050. So adoption of these things allows municipalities to engage, and being an early adopter allows you to get incentives and grant funding in this way. So this Clean Energy Upgrades Action, you review all your municipal buildings that are over 1,000 square feet, you do a baseline greenhouse gas emissions inventory, and anything that you do as an improvement, whether it is to your police station, your fire station, your town hall, your community center, any clean energy upgrade that shows a 10% reduction allows you to engage with this particular high impact action. Similarly, there is another one that allows you to if you put into place an installation, air or ground source heat pump in any municipal building that's over 1,000 square feet, and you have an educational kiosk that can inform your public about the use of clean energy, this particular technology, which is very common, then you have access to this 500 points through this high impact action. I'm just going to whip through it, so I apologize, but there are 13 of them, so I'm going to ask for your patience as we go along. The next one is the 100% renewable electricity high impact action. This is very specific. What this means is you have to purchase something called a renewable electricity certificate. These are RECs. And at a high level, what a REC represents is proof that the electricity was generated from an eligible renewable energy source. Again, this is something that I'm happy to walk any town or city or any town or municipality through this, but RECs are very, very specific. Sometimes municipalities get confused when they see 100% renewable electricity, and they confuse that with community choice aggregation. It isn't community choice aggregation. This is the purchase of RECs. Climate smart communities. Now, I see members of the Climate Smart Task Force here, and I have to say that they're a very hardworking crew that you have here. And I was reached out by Anne and Susan, and I appreciate all the hard work that they've done. Across New York State, there are a number of municipalities that have absolutely embraced this particular climate smart communities certification process. To be clear, climate smart communities it's a separate program administered by the New York State DEC. What I am discussing with you today is the Clean Energy Communities Program. Of course, not easy, all these acronyms abounding. CSC is a New York State run DEC program. CEC, of which I'm a coordinator, is a NYSERDA program. As it happens, the NYSERDA program that I'm a coordinator of has grant money that I told you about. But the interesting thing about the CSC and the CEC is that they're integrated. So if you adopt an action that is a clean energy action, it automatically translates into your climate smart certification. It literally can be walked over. It is as simple as if you submit for example, your energy code official happen to be trained, he or she gets training from that ECT code enforcement training. They have the certificate of that training. All you need to do is take a screenshot of the certificate and upload it to Climate Smart. So it's literally a one-on-one crosswalk integration, really close nexus between Climate Smart communities and clean energy communities. The next high impact action is LED streetlights. So this is an interesting high impact action because this can be done retroactively. It's one of the few high impact action items. If any town has, or village or city or municipality, anybody that has converted it to LED lights can actually submit and get certified action for this, okay? The next, and there's two elements of the LED street lights. You can do it as is mentioned here, with sort of actually Cobra heads or decoratives. And again, all of these high impact actions come with toolkits, and any clean energy community coordinator across New York State, and in particular me, since I'm assigned to the town of Poughkeepsie, I am more than willing to help you figure out any one of these, get any kinds of assistance that you need, and walk you through this. The benchmarking piece is an interesting high impact action. This is again one of those actions that's crosswalked or integrated with Climate Smart. You have to benchmark your buildings. What does that mean? That means if you have a building that has any kind of fuel source, whether it is propane, natural gas, or oil, you have a tool called Energy Star Portfolio Manager. Again, as a clean energy communities coordinator, I am happy to walk the town through the benchmarking high impact action and assist you with figuring out how to benchmark all your buildings. But this enables you to actually save money because you can track how your energy usage happens over time. You will be able to see which months you use, how much you use, where you are wasting energy resources, how you can conserve. And this benchmarking piece is really, it allows you then to, remember that earlier high impact action that I talked about, clean energy upgrades? It allows you to see municipal energy use across multiple buildings. Your fire station, your police building, whatever you have, and even if you have combined use spaces, very often many municipalities have one town hall which has multiple sections with a court, the police station below, the fire department next to it, but all of them can be broken down via the energy sector benchmarking high impact action. You can track it. Clean fleets is another interesting high impact action. Many municipalities have begun to engage with installing EV chargers. Now, to be clear, this clean fleets action requires a specific kind of charging station. It has to be a level 2 charging station, and you can lease it. So a municipality can lease or purchase a charging station. However, when it comes to light and medium duty EVs and heavy duty EVs, municipality has to purchase it. It has to show proof of purchase and operational use. Again, with regards to chargers, I'm happy to assist the town if there's interest in any of these high impact actions with additional resources for additional funding and incentive programs. Now, community choice aggregation, I understand that the town may have considered it. I just want to very briefly touch on it and not spend too much time. Basically, by adopting legislation authorizing your community's participation in community choice aggregation, you get lower cost renewable energy for your constituents. So it's clean energy. And what it does is CCAs, basically, if you think about it, it aggregates electricity consumers into a larger pool. That's all it's doing. It's aggregating consumers into a larger pool and allowing your administrator, whoever you choose, to negotiate on your behalf. And I'll give you an example. The village that I live in is a very small village. Before I became a clean energy communities coordinator, I, like some of the climate smart task force volunteers, I chaired my village's climate smart task force. The village that I belong to happens to be one of the first climate smart certified municipalities in all of New York State. In 2019, we signed up, a previous version of the community choice aggregation. So now some villages and municipalities are on their second cycle of community choice aggregation. So we were early adopters, but as a result, some of our towns and villages in Westchester, especially, have been able to access grant funding. And I know that as a CEC coordinator, I'm agnostic as to the choice of your administrator. There's a number of them. It's not up to me who you pick or whether you pick it. But to date, Westchester Power, Joule Assets, Good Energy, and Mega have been helping municipalities. Now, this is one of my sort of passion projects. This is New York Stretch Energy Code. And for me, this is a no-brainer, because what this stretch code, every community across New York State is operating with a base energy code. So none of us can do anything, any retrofit, major retrofit, without our code officials sort of vetting it and getting your certificate of occupancy, et cetera, et cetera. New York Stretch allows in a simple payback of 5 years, a savings of roughly 11% over the 2020 New York State Energy Conservation current code. So by adopting New York Stretch, your community can take advantage of savings and that $5,000 grant associated with this particular HIA. To be very clear, there's only 100 of these grants, and what's happening is a lot of municipalities that I am representing are adopting this code. So currently, other than first it was New York City that adopted a version of New York Stretch, and then the city of Beacon, and then the village of Hastings-on-Hudson, and then before I became a clean energy communities coordinator, much before that, my own village of Dobbs Ferry adopted it, and then the town of Bedford has adopted it. But I have been presenting with the New York Stretch team. I think almost every week we have at least 2 or 3 presentations to town boards that are grounded in New York Stretch code. So next week I can let you know what the other municipalities are, but every week at this point, I think the New York Stretch team, and I'm happy I have this is a unique high impact action, because what it does is your code official has the opportunity to get specialized training on New York Stretch. It isn't, I want to clear up some misinformation or whatever worries people may have. This does not require any new material. It does not. It's what you touch and what you can see is very real, and the savings are amazing in terms of the simple payback period. When you see the technical presentation that New York Stretch provides, it's quite astounding, and we've had a lot of success across multiple counties, not just Westchester. So Dutchess and Ulster and Putnam counties. So if you're interested in that, I can bring the New York Stretch team and do a dedicated presentation, a technical presentation to your town board. They are willing to talk to your code official. And the other interesting thing about the New York adoption of the New York Stretch code is your town, if you're an early adopter, will get a unified manual. So your code official will get one streamlined manual for free. Currently, I think most code officials have multiple manuals that they're juggling, and they will get, NYSERDA will give them the one streamlined manual in addition to the $5,000 grant. Now, this is my final slide, and I don't want to take up too much time. This is the community campaigns piece. This is where the town of Poughkeepsie has also been active on. I understand that you have submitted with Cornell Cooperative Extension a community solar high impact action community campaign. This is again one of those things where I am seeing so much interest by so many municipalities, because if you submit a scoping document, it's a two-step process. The town submits a scoping document, which in this case you have assistance from Cornell Cooperative Extension to complete. 10. All you need are 10 participants. If you are a municipality that's under 40K, you need 10. If you are a municipality that's bigger than 40K, you need 25. You can get $5,000 when you finish this campaign. And that $5,000 can be applied to any clean energy related action that your town may wish to have. So you could use it towards a ground source heat pump. You could put it towards a solar array. You could do whatever you wanted with it. All it requires, once you finish this community campaign, is a letter of commitment. And again, I'll be happy to walk you, once you finish the community campaign, I'm already in conversation with Cornell Cooperative Extension. I would encourage you to look at more campaigns. Any town can do all 4 campaign types. So you could potentially do a clean heating and cooling campaign and get $5,000. You could potentially do a community campaign on electric vehicles and complete that and get another $5,000. You could do, this is something that's very popular now, demand response. What do they mean by demand response? It is basically anything to do with, your smart thermostats and your peak savings. Often your utility provider will be able to partner with you. So this is something I'd love to encourage the town of Poughkeepsie to look at. Finally, closing up, I just want to show you a schematic of all the different high impact actions. If you see, towns can do all of them. Counties cannot. There are some actions that counties cannot do. But towns, cities, and villages can do most of them. And the reason is NYSERDA's Clean Energy Communities program is municipal leadership. That's what they want to see. They want to see leadership on clean energy from towns, cities, and villages and counties. But we know that the action comes from local communities. So there's a grant award piece. There's a slide, and I'm happy to share this version of the slide presentation with all of you. There are links to the portals in the leadership round. And as Anne and Susan know, I am very available to walk you through every high impact action item. I promise to be within 30 minutes. I'm sorry I took a little bit over maybe. Any questions? Tired? Exhausted? Overwhelmed by the high impact actions? Let me know.
Unshare your screen and we'll go across the board and ask if they have any questions. Thank you very much for your presentation. Councilman Renahan, Jeff, you have anything?
I have nothing, thank you.
Councilman Carlos?
I have nothing, thank you.
Councilman Safone?
Does this program works with Central Hudson too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can work with your utility provider.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Shershin?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out a couple of things about this program. One of the advantages of this program is we don't need another task force. The Climate Smart Task Force we already have can also administrate this program, and there's a lot of crossovers. We've already done at least two starting on 3 of the high impact statements, and we don't have to do all of them. You don't like CACs? We don't have to do a CAC. And if you don't like the New York stretch, we don't have to do that either. There's so many high impact programs we can do that we can pick and choose what makes sense for our town. So we don't have to do them all. And our current task force can administrate it. So I think it's a good idea, and it's an opportunity for us to get more grants.
Thanks, Ann. Councilman Krakauer? Councilman Krakauer?
Yes,
Oh, there you go.
I don't have any questions. I'm good.
Okay, thank you. No, thank you very much. We'll reach out to the board, let them think about this as far as the presentation goes. Is there
Thank you
anybody in
so
the
much.
audience that would like to speak? This is a,
And please know that you don't have to, you can, if you engage in the community campaigns piece, you don't even have to be a designated CEC. You can just get the money for your community campaigns. That's an
Yeah.
excellent way to begin.
Thank you.
Jay, Sue
you.
would like to say a few words,
Yep.
the head of our task force.
Yep, I saw her. I was letting the town board members do it first because we don't usually open these to public comment. Susan, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll just take a moment. Anne said most of what I wanted to point out. Just I wanted to make sure that everyone understands, and even Anila, I don't think you even have the full picture because it's been since November since we met with you. Our LED action is already done. It's already gone into our Climate Smart application. We do have the solar community campaign in process with Danielle at Cornell Cooperative Extension, and we do need the 25 participants, but we've done the scoping document, so we're just waiting for the response from NYSERDA. And I just want everyone to know also that for one of our next focuses in the task force, we are starting to have a really big conversation about EV charging. And we did have a representative from NYSERDA who met with us the other night and was incredibly helpful. And I really want to encourage everyone, all of that information is publicly available in the Climate Smart Task Force minutes on the website. We take very careful notes, and that's why they're there. So that was it. I just wanted to let everyone know we actually are well along, in this process if we're interested in pursuing it. And thank you for letting us bring Anila to the group tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Susan. Is there anybody else before we go on to the regular end of the meeting? If not, again, thank you for your presentation. We'll reach out to you after everybody gets a chance to read, think about it, and see if they have any questions, and we'll work with our task force on this if it's something that they want to go forward on.
Jay?
Yes?
Okay, sorry.
Oh, okay. Committee.
It just appeared for a minute.
Oh, okay. I got quiet. Committee reports, Finance, Councilman Krakauer.
Nothing to report.
Technology, Councilman Krakauer.
Nothing to report.
Yeah, we will report that we're getting pretty close to putting our website online, so that should be coming out in the next month or so. Recreation, Councilwoman Shersha.
Yeah, the only thing I have to report is that we're going to be interviewing rec director candidates tomorrow. So that's it.
Thank you. Fire Advisory, Councilman Renahan.
No report.
Infrastructure, Councilman Carlos.
No report.
Personnel, Councilman Renahan, or Safone.
Nothing.
Just, just what Ann was saying before, we just had those interviews. That's it for tomorrow.
Okay. Building Consolidation, we have nothing to report at this time. Master Plan, Councilman Carlos.
On building consolidation, Jay?
No, Master Plan. I
And the
answered.
person with the iPhone, please mute. Go ahead.
Yes, what else?
Person with the iPhone, could you kindly mute your phone?
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead, Bill.
Comprehensive Plan Action Review Committee has been very active. Right now, they're doubling the number of meetings they have each month. The goal is to produce a document that we can bring out to the public, and we have to go out and actually meet them and get some public input on that. Bring that back, redo whatever we have to redo, and then get a plan ready to bring it for the town board. It is a very active committee. It's got some very great people on it, and I'm proud to be the chairman of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. The Supervisors Report, we're currently getting ready to start our yearly audit. The accountant should be here in the next week or so, and we're finishing up last year's finances, and hopefully I'll have a report sometime in April on how the town finished up. So far, things are looking pretty good. As everybody has noticed in the COVID bill, the town should be receiving some money. We're not exactly sure. What was in the paper is not a 100% correct amount. We'll fill everybody in going forward what the actual amount is, how we go about getting it, and what it can be used for. That's all I have. With that, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item at all.
Second.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody who would like to discuss any item at all? Please, *6 to unmute, or *9 to raise your hand.
Doreen has her hand up.
Go ahead, Doreen.
Hi, Jay. Yeah, you briefly touched on this. So I saw in the paper that it seemed like the city of Poughkeepsie was getting a huge amount of money from some COVID relief, and it looked like the town was getting a much smaller amount. I mean, I'm not 100% certain, but I thought I read something like the city was getting 20 million.
Correct.
So do you have any idea why that would be, and what the town would get in relationship to the city?
Doreen, I have not been able to figure out the rhyme or reason to where the number comes from. The only thing I can think of mildly is when they had the stress numbers that came out earlier in the year, they may have been using that as a factor, looking at some of the cities that were in a high financial stress level, that they got more than others. The quote in the paper actually listed us as a city, which was a mistake, and the number in the paper is not correct because part of that has to be shared with the village. So that's about all the information I got out of calling the senator's office today. They're going to fill us in further in the next week or so when they get more information and after the president signs the bill.
Yeah, because that hardly seems equitable. If, you know, I understand there are some communities that are higher stress, but, you know, I don't know, it just didn't seem equitable to me.
Oh, I agree.
And
I agree,
go
Doreen,
ahead.
but if you look through that whole list, there's a lot of towns in this county and other counties that got nothing, so I don't really get the rationale to how it was done. Hopefully that'll come out soon and we can figure out what it actually stands for.
Okay. And then the only other thing is something that was mentioned tonight, the community choice aggregation. Again, I'd like to say that I would not be in favor of that if I have to opt out, or if any resident needs to opt out of that. So just wanted to bring that up again. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Was there anybody else that would like to speak? Please raise your hand. No. All right, make a motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby adjourned the executive session to consider the following: discussions regarding proposed pending or current litigation, rental towing, to discuss matters which are exempt under the open meetings law, including matters subject to attorney-client privilege, and be it further resolved, no action appropriate money will be taken. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board goes into executive session at
7:45.
7:45. Thank you, everybody, and thanks for the presentation again. I'll see all the board members in executive session in about 5 minutes.